Hi, Glenn Crowder here. Thank you very much for listening to Head for the Hills, all brought to you by our good friends at eWool. They have a product that nobody else, believe me. And we're going to do local stuff and destination this entire season. We are so looking forward to it, and I'm so looking forward to talking to you over the next 5 months. Thanks for listening. Enjoy the show.
An original
from Story Studio Network.
Well, it's all downhill from here. Welcome in. It's Head for the Hills. Dave Trafford with Glenn Crowder. And as we noted off the top, we do this courtesy of the support from our friends at eWool. Again, encourage you to check out their website, ewool.com. And there will be no excuse. There will be no complaints about the cold weather. Get out and enjoy the elements and enjoy whatever activity. Glenn, there's a whole bunch of things. I mean, we talked about eWool, and it's about the gear. And, you know, there's a whole evolution in snow gear, ski gear, all that kind of thing over the last probably, 20 years. It's just kind of taken off in terms of if you were using 20-year-old skates like me, I can still get around on them. I'm not sure a lot of people are putting up with 20-year-old ski gear because it seems, to my eye, every year you get this whole new shift that makes life a lot simpler, whether it's your eWool vest or the boots you're using or the skis you're using. You know, the gear itself probably makes it a whole lot easier to take up the sport.
It really does, Dave. As you mentioned, eWool really makes it easy to get out on the hills, and then the manufacturers like I'm on with Head this year, the skis, the boots, everything. And I just tell people, I said, the best thing to do is if your equipment is old, head to the local ski shop and find out what's new, or do some research. That's what I did. I did some research first, and you find out what's the best, because there are so many different brands out there, and there's so many different brands for different people as well, different skiers, and of course, different technical abilities. So yeah, 100%. And just as far as eWool is concerned, you know, the really cool thing about it, and I've said this many times, is that we don't have to wear the Michelin jacket anymore, the big puffy jacket, because you have the eWool vest. You just have a simple turtleneck underneath, and you've got the vest on top, which is the heated vest. You have a thin jacket, because most of the jackets now are thin because they've got Primaloft, all sorts of different materials now that keep you warm, and it's not the big thick stuff. And with the eWool vest, and you have the gloves as well, and the brand new socks, by the way, you won't have a problem being on the hills for any length of time.
Before we get to our guest, I want to get your sense of, you know, you talk about beginners and learning. And I mentioned a couple of episodes ago that my son and daughter-in-law, they took a sort of an extended stay, Mount Tremblant. James is only 2, but they want to get him up on skis. Is there a good place to point somebody, you know, 3-4-year-olds, because we've got them up on skates already. So it says to me we can get them up on skis.
For sure. And that's a great point, because every ski resort has their specialty. They'll have instructors for the advanced. They have instructors for intermediates, instructors for beginners, and they've also got instructors for young kids. They're trained to help these kids to get them on their skis and get them going. So to answer your question, yeah, every resort right across the province has. And if I want to go local, I take a look at Mount St. Louis Moonstone, one of the top. Then you go Horseshoe Valley. All sorts of hills have the really refined programs now. No longer just groups, like take out 15, 20 people and let them go have some fun. Now they concentrate more on improving that particular person or that child, and it really is beneficial. It really is to spend a little bit extra money for that extra time as well.
Yeah, and I think, you know, you talk about the advancements in the gear, and I was joking about my skates, but I recently bought him a pair of skates for his birthday, and he can stand up in them right away, just because the boots are designed for those, you know, those new ankles, getting used to the new movement.
I broke my leg a long time ago, old skis from my parents and a pair of leather boots. I kind of dated myself there. But anyways, I broke my leg. That's how easy it is. Now you've got the protector binding from Tyrolean Head where the rear end pops out as well, not just the front. So that's a huge part. The technology now with the boots, the skis, the bindings, which is so important, have advanced so much that you really have a tough time if you want to hurt yourself unless you're going to go bombing into a tree or something stupid like that.
So one of the things that we're going to dip into here is not only about broken bones, but making sure you're taking care of the rest of your body. And that includes your eyesight when you are out on the slopes, because that glare off the snow can actually, spoil the day, if not otherwise. And so there are ways to cope with that. So we'll get into that. That's on the way, coming up right here on Head for the Hills. course, the helmet's important, but the goggles and the sunglasses go a long way to not only making you look the part out there, but the science involved and the technology involved. I talked about how it's evolved in all of the gear. I imagine that in that particular area, you've seen some pretty significant advancements.
Oh, huge. And one-stop shop, I can tell you right now. I'm going to bring on Stefan Kott from Regional Sales Manager for Ontario for Oakley. Probably one of the brands, well, it's been the brand for quite some time now, but they have everything you want. And why I wanted to bring on Steph, thank you very much for joining us, was the fact that people kind of neglect their eyes when they go on the ski hills. And to me, they're on a boat, they've got ski glass, they've got glasses on, sunglasses. When they're in a car, they got sunglasses. But sometimes I don't see them really taking care of their eyes too much. And to me, the glare is really important. So Oakley has really refined its lenses, and you've done a great job with that as well.
Yeah. Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it. Your goggles are one of those things, definitely, and your eyes are definitely one of those things that people always overlook when looking at the overall package. I'm sure you guys have both gotten off a ski lift, and let's say your goggles are fogged up, for instance. Like, how does that make you feel as soon as you touch the snow? You basically, essentially, you almost feel like a new rider, like you've never ridden before. And essentially what Oakley's done, especially with our new Prism technology, or our Prism technology, which we've had kind of in the marketplace for now, I think it's the last 4 or 5, maybe 6 years, is what it does is it enhances the level of contrast that you see the snow with. So it optimizes your field of vision. So you see absolutely every little nook, cranny, roller in the snow. So you essentially forget about what you're looking at. And basically it heightens what's most important for you at that time right now, which is skiing and enjoying skiing or snowboarding on the hill.
Steph, I was really caught, and I have your glasses, the Oakley ones that I've got with the Prism with the Prism lens, is spectacular. I've worn a lot of sunglasses, pretty high end sunglasses as well. But I was at Mount St. Louis Moonstone about 3 weeks ago, and it was a bright sunny day. It took down the tone of the glare, but it still gave me the refined where I could see the moguls were. And it was at Mount Tremblant not too long ago on a very flat day, like it's a dull day, not a great day. And I was saying to my buddy, I said, "You cannot believe these glasses because I can see, and it's sunglasses, and it's not sunny out, but I can see the definition." And it really brought out the little nooks and crannies, as you mentioned, the moguls and things, which was totally surprising, my friend. That technology is certainly it's so advanced. I don't think a lot of people know about it yet.
And that's one of the really cool things about the way the Prism technology works, is it allows you to see a consistent level through a broad spectrum of light conditions. So, you're at Mount St. Louis, for instance, and the sun's setting back behind the hill. The light's changing from the moment you arrive at the hill to the moment you leave the hill. Matter of fact, like the light changes so many times from the top of that 50 seconds to the bottom of that 50 seconds. You're constantly going through different light conditions. And what Oakley does with the Prism technologies is it allows you to see that consistent level of vision through the top of the run to the bottom of the run, from the beginning of the day to the end of the day. So your experience level is the same throughout the entire day. And it's not basically creating a lot of strain within your eyes to see that level of contrast. And another cool thing about the Prism technology is they make it sport specific or environment specific. So a snow goggle or snow lens is designed for a white environment. Then for off season, when you're golfing, we actually have a Prism golf lens that is designed for that green environment, so on and so forth. So every specific environment that you'd use glasses in, you mentioned water off the top, there is a Prism specific glass to enhance that level of contrast within that environment, which is super neat.
Steph,
so I can see where the issue around comfort and taking care of your eyes in those other environments, golfing and on the water is one thing, but this is really a matter of safety when you're on the hills. And I say that because my son and daughter-in-law were out west and sort of was the final run of the day, as it always is, and he didn't see that slight bump, and he smashed up his shoulder badly. So, and it's one of those, he said it wasn't a big thing that he hit. It's just the way he hit it, and he didn't see it coming. So whether it was he didn't have the goggles on or he didn't have the right goggles on, he spent a long time in a sling and still feels the effect of missing that bump on the road.
Especially to the later part of the day when you're, you're all burnt out and you're lazy, and especially those little bumps will pop up out of nowhere, and that's where the injury occurs. So if you can see that little roll or that little dip that'll throw you for a buck, that's just an advantage for you as well. And you kind of look at that on a professional level. In a fist race, where are the races won? The races are won in the shade, from going from the light conditions to the shady conditions to keep, that level of speed and confidence running through those transitions. And that's, another part that that prism lens will, help, from a professional level racer to your average recreational rider.
Steph, I love sunglasses, and your sunglasses are amazing. I don't wear goggles much unless I have some really unfriendly conditions, like maybe some heavy snow or something along those lines. Does the prism glass the same as the lens, same as the one in the sunglasses for goggles?
There'll be different tints on them. So there'll be a snow goggle. So basically the filtration is designed for a white environment, and then there'll be levels of tint within that goggle system. So you'll have from a prism clear, if anybody's watched an NFL football game, all their visors have a prism filter in it. And the prism clear goggle for snow will be a similar tint to that. So you can see your eyes through it. It essentially it has a pink hue in it. We're actually also making a prism clear for the NHL, but we'll apply that into a snow condition as well. And then right down to a prism dark or a prism black iridium, which is has a 90% VLT on it. So it's almost like looking through a welding goggle that you can see through, which is amazing. So depending on the light conditions, there is several tints that you can use. But a prism snow category, whether it being in a sunglass, will be the same tint profile as the same light conditions in a goggle, if that makes sense of what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, it does. Absolutely. Tell me what Oakley kind of came out of nowhere. You had all sorts of other ones. Ray-Bans, all of a sudden were the cool ones. Now they're no longer the big cool one to be. Yeah. You cannot go anywhere. Golfing, of course, I'm ambassador Club Link over at King Valley. Everybody's wearing Oakley. On the ski hills, everybody's wearing Oakley. Yeah. Like, what's going on with Oakley? Why such a popular brand all of a sudden?
You know what? I really think that once they introduced prism technology, it basically elevated us above our competition. Before that, I'll say, in a modest way, that we were kind of at the same level of everybody. But if you take a look at, say, Sony went from an HD TV to an 8K TV, which set them apart. So with the prism technology in our eyewear, we went from regular Oakley HD to Oakley 8K. Just heightened that level of vision that you see through your optics that much more. So that when a customer's in a store comparing X brand to an Oakley, they'll see that level of quality and that level of vision and optical enhancement right away.
Now, if you could do that and make me a better hockey player, I'd be buying. There's
or
no
a golfer,
question.
Yeah, that's
golfer.
All I'll have to say is Mitch Marner right now is wearing an Oakley Prism hockey visor, and the proof's in the pudding right there.
He's on the streak.
Wow,
Yeah.
Good stuff. I didn't know that. What's next then? We've got the Prism. Everybody wants to do something. What's next? Coming up the chute. What's up for Oakley?
There's definitely a few things kind of up our sleeves that I can't exactly talk about on this. But one thing definitely to kind of look at is, let's talk skiing. When you have your goggle, what's a great combo piece with your goggle? It's a helmet. I'd say 99% of people out there are wearing helmets right now. So we have our full line of helmets, right from our Mod 1 to our racing, our FIS certified ARC5 helmet. That, blend nicely from our goggle interface right up to our helmet. So our helmets are definitely gaining a lot of speed where, we were definitely trailing the market a few years ago, and now we're definitely kind of starting to get into the lead of that market for Oakley snow helmets as well. So I'd say definitely look out for that. So we have our optics. We're basically taking care of your head.
So before we go, can I just ask you what's the price point on that I should be kind of prepared to pay to take advantage of the Oakley product?
So if we look at goggles, our sweet spot for our goggles is running anywhere between 180 to 250 retail, which is we're right in mark with the competition at those levels. And then our helmets, our Mod 1 helmet is an extremely good value. It has MIPS interface in it, Fidlock buckle system, and that's running at $150 retail. And it's also running with a 360 BOA closure system in it, so it fits incredibly well. And then our ARC5 carbon, which is our Pro FIS helmet, it's a carbon helmet, and that's running in, I believe it's $750 or $799 for that helmet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think that, when we talk about this, it's not as if it's a one-off. You're making an investment in, just to make the point around skiing, it's certainly a safety investment, both with the helmet and the goggles. So, you don't want to fool around, go discount on that stuff.
And Dave, you're saving your eyes too, by the way.
Oh, for sure.
It drives me nuts when I see promotions on the hill. They're giving away these little crappy sunglasses, maybe $5 worth, and they've got a company name on them, and people are wearing them. I'm looking at them going, do you realize you're just basically, it's looking through a piece of plastic? That's all you're doing. You're not protecting your eyes. You may think it looks cool, but at the end of the day, I'm a huge proponent of the proper sunglasses for the proper environment, and Oakley's got it covered, as you've just heard Steph mention.
Steph, thanks for joining us. It's been enlightening.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. Appreciate the
good of you to join
opportunity.
us.
Thanks a lot, Steph.
All right. Take care, guys.
And for those of you who are interested in more information about what we're doing here at Head for the Hills, I would encourage you to send us a note at hello@storystudionetwork.com. And if it's about product, if it's about a resort, if it's about gear, if Glenn doesn't know, we'll find out. We'll dig in and we'll make sure we get guests on like Steph who can let us know what's the latest. So, Glenn, always good to talk to you. And so we'll talk to you next week.
Thank you. That was great to have Steph on because that's so important. But thank you, Dave, because we'll talk to you next week. And next week, we've got eyewear coming in and we'll hear about all the new products they've got existing and possibly the new ones as well.
Here we go. Our technical producer and audio editor for Head for the Hills is Mike Trutler. Our production manager is Jamie Nickerson. Our executive producer is Aaron Trafford. And our sonic logo designer is Greg McDonald. I'm Dave Trafford. Thanks for listening.
This
is SSN.